Hey everybody, welcome back to Red Road Paranormal. As you notice, our lovely Christina Bloom is not here with us tonight. Unfortunately, she's behind the scenes. She's not feeling too well. So it's just going to be me and a good friend of ours that you already know, Mr. Shawn Stevens. How's it going, Shawn?
Hey, it's going all right. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So I know you do a lot of teaching and educating out in our tribal homelands. Would you like to tell people where that is and exactly what do you do out there?
Well, our ancestral lands are from the bottom of Lake Champlain all the way down to Manhattan Island. All along what's the Hudson River now? West as far as Schoharie Creek at Mohawk land border land there, in the Catskill Mountains, and east from the Hudson River into Connecticut, Vermont, Massachusetts. There, you know, um, a lot of I mean, really, our people are from all over out east. We're a part of everybody from out there. But
Yeah.
those are our tribal lands, so ancestral tribal lands. So, and when I go out there, man, it started when we went out and did a reburial of a lot of bones that we had gotten back from the um, Albany State Museum, I believe. And that was around, I want to say 2004, I think. And from then, oh man, just something always keeps calling me back, coming back out there, either to share our tribal history or to share Native American culture. Um, uh, do presentations at schools. Oh man, schools, retreat centers, spiritual centers, health centers, churches, um, colleges, all kinds of places. Man, I should really sit one day and write every different kind of organization that hasn't invited me or some of us out there to kind of just share our ways and just kind of reforging a new bond between our people out here and the people from out there on the um, call it a governmental level and just a regular average everyday person level type of thing. Bring a lot of youth and other people out there so they can get an experience that I've had been so blessed to have every year for so many times each year coming out there, and it's been really good bringing them out, and just to watch everybody, their first experience out there. It's always special to watch everybody, and to see you can see what they're going through, that feeling of something so profound, you know, happening all around, and so I love it. I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds like we're building good communication and good foundations with people out there as much as they keep bringing you back and they seem
Oh
like they're
yeah,
really embracing our culture.
yeah. Well, and it's culture and history. And a lot of that's the history that a lot of people, when they're out there, they don't really realize, the original peoples, the Native Americans who lived there, who they were, and where are they today? Are they still alive? Are there Native Americans alive? These were questions they had, in the beginning, but thanks to the tribe, making more of a presence out there, and myself going out there doing a lot of different things, we're starting to reteach people, out there that, yeah, the original peoples of those lands were the Mohican, the Lenape people, and that we are still alive today. And there's a history that goes along with it. It's not a pretty history. It's not a good history. Not a Disney movie type of history,
Right.
And but we are still here, and we're making our way back, our presence back, and being known again, So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, very good. It's funny you mentioned bring up the Lenape. Just the other night, I started watching a show on one of the streaming services, And there's actually a Lenape spirit that's one of the main characters of the show.
Mm, wow. Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Lenape people are. It's more the nation, of all these tribes, so-called tribes. The Mohican, those are the people of the Great River.
yeah,
But our people though spread so farther out beyond just the Hudson River area there, into New York and up in, of course, Massachusetts, Connecticut, eastern, even towards, when we get to the Nipmuc, and the Abenaki and Wampanoag and Ramapo and all these other different, what people consider tribes, they're actually all our relatives. We're just, bands of a larger nation, the Lenape Nation. So,
yeah,
yeah, and just so much out there, so much energy. That's one of the things that I always wondered about. Was Stockbridge, Massachusetts. That it was our last piece of land that was actually ours. That
yeah,
had been ours for thousands of years, or actually that piece of land that we inhabited. For so long. And why that area there was so important that we held on to that part. To the very end instead of somewhere else. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of scenic places out there, picturesque, and a lot of good lands and stuff. But when you look at Stockbridge area and Lee and Lenox, all the little towns around it, there, there's other places. I was just say there's a lot of swamp area, and you just kind of, it looks a lot like here, swampy. well, with and it's only got the little bitty Housatonic River that goes through there. Nothing compared to the bigger rivers we used to we're accustomed to.
yeah,
But there's something special there. There's something so special, the energy, and now even though and it was there long before our people even came, and for some reason it's a hot spot for artists or for yoga studios, musicians, a lot of people, who deal within the arts or dealing with higher realms of consciousness. You know, big boulder size quartz crystal out there, healing springs, healing medicines, all kinds of stuff that are just amazing out there. A lot of places where it seems to have be ceremonial places. Um,
yeah,
kind of where they have rock formations and stuff. It's kind of hard because you got to kind of sift through a lot of the rock fences and walls between what was there before colonization, what came after.
yeah,
Because sometimes farmers did make walls to keep in sheep and their cattle and stuff. So we kind of got to differentiate between the two. Well, you see a lot of like turtle effigies or snake, serpent effigies and stuff. Um, when I was in it was Ossining, New York, which is probably about an hour and a half south of the Berkshire area, still Lenape area territory and such. Right on the right off the Hudson River. There was this place called Button Hook Farm, and it's amazing what they had there. These walls, a lot of these walls, and they call them snake walls or serpent walls. They kind of go up and down, you know, up and down, And I got to thinking about it, and looking. I've seen this in a couple other places also, but not as pronounced, I guess you could say. That they were definitely up and down. Um,
yeah,
when you think about it, when you think of serpents or like snakes, they kind of go side to side, you know.
yeah,
But there's been old rumors or myths, stories of the serpents in the waters there. Kopek, which is actually pronounced the original way is Kopek, which means serpent water, snake water.
yeah,
And you look at some of the old like cave art and drawings or people do drawings of like say like Loch Ness monster. You know, it's always up and down.
Yep.
You know, not side to side. It's more something of an eel. You know, but you find that in a lot of places going up and down the Hudson River, and there's old, well, we'll say, you know, assumptions of old serpent type of. I don't want to say cults or anything like that because I know I like a lot of the some of the Six Nation people had serpent medicine, you know, or and it's not so much to say that they were serpents, but something to do with the serpents were so important,
Yep.
you know, or eels. Um, I believe it was the guy who what is his name? It's the guy whose name Lake Champlain is named after. I believe
Okay.
he had a written account of actually seeing one of these animals in the waters. You know, when he went up and started going up to Lake Champlain, you know, and they describe it as like an eel-looking animal with like a horse head, a horse's
Hmm.
head, or whatever. And also other accounts of some chieftains and such having dried out hides of these
Mm-hmm.
animals and stuff, you know. But nobody's ever really seen them today unless you listen to some of the reports of Champ, you know, from
Yep.
our Lake Champlain's Loch Ness Monster type of thing, you know. But we've had these, like I said, we've had these, if you want to call hieroglyphs or stone built walls in those shapes of water serpents, you know, for hundreds of thousands of years here, you know.
All right.
Um,
You've sold me. You're taking me out there. You're going to show me these places.
Absolutely,
Being
yeah.
being being native from us being from out there, being a cryptid investigator, you just sold me. We're going to go
Yeah,
look for Champ.
yeah. Well, you know, there and the history is all in the rock formations. You know, like I said, it'd be different because it's hard when you translate the language. You know, whether it's serpents or snakes. You know, but like I said, snakes will go side to side.
Yep.
Serpents and eels and stuff in the water, when you look at it, it seems to go up and down. You know, snakes don't go up and down. It's more
No.
the eels, you know, or other types of water serpents, big water serpents, but they're huge and they're so pronounced just watching them, you know, and so many of this stuff, and it'd be really good to have somebody who is real sensitive to energies and such. That are these places, these certain walls, are they put over certain energy lines, or the energy walls, underground water springs. I think a lot of these places have been um, uh, verified to have underwater streams, you know, and such. But you don't know if that's to mark but, the energy, or maybe it's the actual serpent itself. But you see it in a lot of places. I mean, and they
Hmm.
put in so much work. It had to have been, you know, generations of people to build these walls. It had to have taken a long, 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 long time, you know.
Yep.
But it's amazing. Everybody who goes there, you know, you feel it. And I'm always, you know, always one of the people, you know, that you got to kind of play devil's advocate just to make sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing, make sure I'm feeling what I'm feeling, you know, and
Yep.
deduce everything and you know, kind of, you know, do it that way, you know. But it's just all these places are so awesome. You're gonna love them when you go out there. You know, your hair stands all up, especially that first time, and you feel them there watching you. You know, all over these places. You know, and especially this place called Button Hook Farms. And oh man, you know, this is owned by like not by rich people, by wealthy people. You know, and some of the nicest people in the world too. You know, and they're just happy that they got a hold of us. You know, and it's like, yeah, we'll come and take a look. You know, and everything. I mean, they try to get a hold of the tribe, but the tribe sometimes picks and chooses what they want to do, or sometimes it doesn't seem important to them enough. You know, but you know, we always like to come and, you know, for me, I always like to go and check it out. You know, and so if I ever
Definitely.
and I see really awesome things, you know, things that have any kind of, you know, on the upside, the arrow pointing upside to something very important, then I try to get put it through our cultural affairs officer, Bonnie Hartley, or somebody out there that are tribal archaeologists that we have out there too. But it's amazing. There's these other places where it looks like a huge turtle. Looks like a big turtle with a turtle head, and it's got all these rock piles in the center. Some of them are kind of pushed off and crumbled a little bit because you can tell that like a tree grew through them at a certain
Yeah.
point and then pushed them aside and stuff. But I've seen rock piles before. I've seen gates and stuff, but never seen one in an exact shape of a turtle that went along this other rock pile line that went down into a valley and way up onto the hill, onto the mountain over on the other side there. This is a very strong place too. But all these little piles of stones in the center. And I'd really like to go in. I think they were saying that it might be upwards of 13, maybe. But again, another thing that this isn't somebody just decided to get together with their friends and just put some rock piles up on the weekend. This is something that took a long, long time, probably generations. And they were so careful of the way that they were building them. It wasn't just like, let's build a barrier to keep animals in. They were very carefully selected and put in there. Many of them were broken rocks that were open, and they had another stone that was shoved inside. Like what a lot of people say over on that area on the East Coast there, that's one of those portal signs. When you see the rock is split open and there's another one shoved inside there, that was to mark the portal, actually, around all of these piles. It's amazing. I wish I could show pictures somehow on here and stuff, but and even when you see the pictures, it just doesn't do it justice compared to when you're out there.
Right. Yeah, I know. Some of the pictures you had shared in the past on Facebook that I've seen from your journeys out there, it's a couple of them is like, man, just you could feel the different vibes and energies coming off the pictures.
Yeah.
It's like somewhere that, I'd love to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I was talking with another one of the people from the area there to hopefully, in some of them places, at least, document a lot of these places. I mean, some of them, the places you go to is just a plain wall, just starts out of nowhere, ends nowhere. That's it, kind of thing. Nothing really special or anything. But with the technology that's coming up and that's present right now, they have what's called LiDAR,
Yep.
technology. You can
Familiar with that.
yeah, you can kind of like take all the trees off and show where more of these, where the earth was actually worked, to
Yep.
a specific degree.
You can see where it's been worked. You can see if anything's been buried there. It can show you different layers that are there.
Right. Yeah, and of course that right now takes money, but at least having these places that are documented, because who knows, 20 years from now, our regular toy drones might be able to have LiDAR, you know, on it and stuff. You never know. But there's so many places when they talk about there's tunnels that go into the mountains and go for miles and stuff. So amazing. This one place that's over by the New Lebanon, the Healing Springs, and this lady who owns the property, adjoining property, and she done all like the research as far back as she could go, and talked to a lot of the old people that used to live there, and they talk about these tunnels, that used to go through the mountains and such, but they had been buried up a long time ago to keep their kids from playing in there and getting lost and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But she's talking about maybe putting up the money to having one of these places, one of the areas open where they remember where one of the openings were, and go and try to check that out. That would be really interesting. I mean, you couldn't pay me to go inside.
I would.
Yeah.
Give me a camera. I'm there.
Oh man! Well, if they're big, 6-foot passages and stuff to go through, maybe I might go in. But
think about it. If there were passages, for normal people,
You know?
you'd have to be at least 5 feet. You know,
Oh yeah,
I- if they're still in good working order, they're just closed off. Now, if they collapse, now you can only go so far. But
right.
I'd give it a shot. You know, if
Yeah,
it's like an actual underground cave system that's tied into these tunnels,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
I'd send you to, and you can tell me how it's like.
we'll record.
A live feed, yeah, coming through.
Yep. Just put a safety harness on me with a very long cable just in case I get stuck. You can pull me out.
All right. Oh,
But hey,
there's
I'm
there's
down.
places out there, that are still yet to be discovered, to be re-remembered. I mean, God, there's our tribe gets so overloaded with people who are trying to reach out, and
You're falling
to
off
show
the
up.
screen, my friend. Scoot over a little bit. Scoot
There
over
you
to your right a little bit. There you go.
go.
When you lean over, I was losing half your face almost.
Oh, really?
No hiding.
Right? Okay. I think.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's.
Uh,
Oh man, I wonder if I have that right with me. There was a book that was published. I think it was called "Haunted Places of the Berkshires."
okay.
But that would be like coming. If you're coming out, we want to go and check out some of these places. They have these documented places. They're of haunted places. They got the UFO abduction site there, right there in
Okay.
Sheffield, which is I mean, it's nothing major. It's just a spot, along the river.
Yeah.
Oh no, no, here we go. I don't know if you can see that.
Ghosts of the Berkshire. Okay. Who wrote that?
Robert Oakes
Hmm.
from Haunted America. I don't know if you can see
Okay.
that uh, there.
Okay. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, just paging through, there's a lot of places I know I went by. A lot of old structures and buildings there. But man, you can spend a lot of time out there, investigating a lot of different places.
Definitely.
And there's never a shortage of people who are saying, hey, there's some pretty cool stuff that happens on the side of the mountain here in the summer. You should come check it out.
Right.
It's always people there. It's like, and it's so much that you can't accept them all, but
So let's talk about filming a documentary out there.
we could, we could, yeah, and go through, yeah,
Do some of our history along with some of the weird and abnormal things that are going on out there and tie it
yeah,
all together.
yeah,
Because most time when you have that kind of activity
yeah,
multiple times around in a certain area, it's probably been going on for as long as people have been there.
right,
So our ancestors probably had a lot of these interactions, both with the star people or with the different cryptids of the land, stuff like that. Something to look into.
right, right. And there's this, um, well, we have like the energy lines, ley lines, and
Yep.
such. And there's just something with all this healing, and like I said, I get the feeling something that tell me that it's ancient, far more an energy and power that's even was there before our people came. But we knew more about it, and the significance of it and how to mark those things out,
Yep.
um, but I'd like, yeah, there's been a whole lot of collaboration that could go on with that. Um, well, yeah, I mean, with the ley lines, and marking, with there's, I guess like hot spots, which are like really good energies, and some places in the world there's like bad spots. I think like there's a show there, I think in northern Russia or something like that. That the spot where if you people go, they go and stay there for longer, like a week or whatever. Everybody gets sick.
Hmm.
And it's just a place that that they kind of say the locals say it's cursed, that you shouldn't go there, and it's hard to put a finger on what's making everybody sick and why nobody has ever really lived there, and it could be those ley lines. You have your positive and negatives, of energy.
Yeah.
There's those spots that are really good. And, hey, let's set up a temple here or something, for our prayers and stuff, or other places that they do consider cursed, and not to live. Don't live there. Don't take your family there. Just
Bad,
stay away.
bad medicine areas.
Right, bad medicine. Yeah, So you figure, because you got to figure, if there's these hot spots where the medicine is strong and good, there's going to be some hot spots where it's bad too. To stay away from.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. Yeah, let's definitely look into that and try to see what we can come up with. Because I'm sure we won't have a shortage of people that want to come in and help. And for
Yeah.
some reason, it's a spot where a lot of there's all kinds of my friends have alien UFO encounters out there of spotting UFOs and stuff. So it's a UFO hotspot too. So there's something special out there. Really, really, really
Sounds like
special.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully we don't get abducted and
Ah,
come back
I'm
with
I'm
lots.
I'm I'm cool being abducted as long as they don't probe me. All
Yeah,
right.
no problem. That's
But,
okay if you want to like show me stuff and teach me. Okay, I'm cool with that.
right. Only the doctor with the camera gets to probe me. I'm sorry. I stay
Right,
faithful.
right. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not done with the probing stuff.
Yeah, but other than that, take me to the mothership. Let's go for a ride.
Yeah,
Check it out. You know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
for all for
I
all
think
we
it's
know, that could be our ancestors. They might be like, "Hey, you're one of us."
what could be. I mean, people talk about aliens coming from another planet. Who's to say that they haven't always been here? It could
Right.
be. I don't know that. They don't have to have come from. It's like, oh, it's impossible because had come so far away. It's not so impossible to say that they weren't always here. You know,
Yep.
and that we're not a product of everything. Who knows? The sky it's open. It's all open for that.
Yep.
Depends on how far we want to go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
Talking
Well,
about.
technically, we know more about space than we do our own oceans.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that is true.
know,
That is
and
true.
there are reports of unidentified submerged objects, USOs.
Mhm.
So they could be coming from down below or up above or both.
Yeah,
We have black sites on this planet that you can't see from Google Earth or any telescope without proper
right,
clearances. So,
right, right. Makes you wonder why.
you know,
Yeah, that is, man. Sure enough.
you know,
Well, they I think not only just in the oceans, but I think in Lake Superior they have reports of unidentified flying objects that come in and out of the water and don't even make a splash. They don't even
yeah,
disturb the water. But when you see them, they appear to be solid objects. You know, so much of these ancient ruins all over North America, South America, and everywhere, Cambodia, China, all these structures that look like they were done by an ancient, technologically advanced people or race or beings, something, you know.
mm,
And that's not to say, that isn't something mankind done a long time ago, but we all just have amnesia, kind of how things used to be.
yeah. Well, I kind of I look at I believe one of the old chiefs said years it was the prophecy was the world doesn't end, it just ends as you know it, and it's basically a cleansing cycle. And during that cycles, everything that man is built up to be basically gets wiped out back at zero. They're talking about.
Different life
So
ages, yeah, yeah,
so I wouldn't be surprised if we were technologically advanced at one point in time as a race, and something catastrophic. I can't speak tonight, guys. I'm sorry. Something catastrophic happened that put us back at ground zero. You know, if you
Right.
think about it. If we lost electricity right now,
Right.
mostly everything we do would be gone. And
Right.
if
Right.
most of the races wiped out, our cities would eventually be grown right back over and turn to dust
Right.
and would be all nature again.
Right.
So who's to say it hasn't already happened in the past?
Exactly. Exactly. You know, and that it can happen that way. It's I think some people have said that it has happened that way, and that's why you have the Hall of Records, you know, from in South America and over in Egypt as well. You know
Yep.
that it was something that that had happened, and they put down all you know the old technology and how the world used to be, written in golden leaf. It says gold doesn't rust, it doesn't disappear or anything. If you ever want
Yep.
to write something down and have it last forever, you write it in gold. You know,
Yep.
and and that the catastrophe that happened, whether it's the flood that happened all over the world. I don't know if it happened at the same time or whatnot, but a huge catastrophe happened. And it seems to happen around 12,500 years ago. So many things, line up to that point of 12,500 years. And maybe the building of Stonehenge and stuff. The end of all of these the end of all the megafauna in North America and in Europe as well. The mammoths died out. A lot of the other animals that had died out. The end of the Clovis people. In North America. They were there, and now all of a sudden they're just gone. You know, um, so many things that have, but it seems like they all point when the scientists talk about it, they always seem to point around 12,500 years ago. I really think what is amazing when they find these mammoths and other animals in the permafrost who were frozen, but they still had warm weather, vegetation in their stomach, you know.
Yep.
And it's like these animals like got frozen, became froze overnight almost. And something happened, you know.
Quick
Uh,
deep freeze.
yeah, well, and I think some people call it crustal displacement, where it's like the crust on the earth, whether it might be the whole crust or part of it, kind of slid and slipped like upwards and shoved warm weather and areas up into the cold weather, and everything like froze like overnight, you know. Um, and I think that in many ways, that might be a part where you might have a need to build all these stone structured um, stone structures, to basically remap the stars again. You know,
Yep.
because everything how you knew if that would happen, if you're on man and you're on Earth and the crust gets displaced, and all of a sudden everything's different. Everything's all backwards now. It's like everything how it used to be and how you thought in direction and everything is different. So now you basically have to remap the stars again. And
Yep.
so that might be a part of why they made like Stonehenge and stuff. And because everybody, ancient mankind knew how to, count, 28 days, and the seasons and everything and stuff. But, and they didn't need like a huge mega structure to tell them what time of the year it was, unless you had to remap everything, you
Yep.
know. And so that kind of goes along with that crustal displacement thing there, but yeah, something really really funky happens that long time ago. I know we're going from like cryptic stuff and
Right.
but it's a mystery. It's a mystery, and the flooding of Atlantis and what Atlantis used to be. There used to be like this. I think Plato was saying, that there used to be this higher form of people. We were very technologically advanced, but we got very arrogant with our ways, and our ways basically kind of destroyed us. Messing with the
Yep.
rhythm of the earth and stuff. And so everything got turned upside down. And so where there was a group a group of people who had this knowledge and could travel different, in various lengths all over the world in very good time. were being wiped out, you know, and they out there. Atlantis basically said it was sunk. I believe sunk going below the waves, and you had people had to go in different directions. And those people who survived that cataclysm, you think that they would want to have that record written down, and a lot of
Yeah.
the science that they had at the time. If you want that to survive, you got to write it down in something permanently, because if everything's been turned upside down like that, it's going to be thousands and thousands of years before mankind gets back together again the way it wants. So
Yeah.
if you don't have that down, I mean, you have to start all over. You got to start all over. And what better place to put it, and where a place people will find it. There people will say the pyramids are only was it 8 to 10,000 years old. And other people argue that they could be more than 26,000 years old. And to me, they always say, well, we're going down a rabbit hole, aren't we? They always say
Yeah.
that.
Right.
They always say that it's a tomb, for kings and stuff. And I say that's bullshit.
Yeah. I don't buy into that.
You go in it for it to be a tomb, you have to have the hieroglyphs and the spells on the wall to help the king get into the next life. You
Yeah.
have none of, you don't see any of that into those the big three pyramids there. They call the step pyramid, which was built by Imhotep for a king. That is an actual tomb. You go in there, you see it, but they think that they like to say it's the oldest pyramid because it's the most deteriorated. And then other people say it's not because it's that deteriorated because it's the oldest, it's because it wasn't built with the same type of technology to last as long
Right.
as those big pyramids. And so, with the pyramids, what could they be? They could be, these places for energy, electricity, and how the rivers flow underneath the pyramids and such. It definitely wasn't a tomb. You wouldn't, when you make a tomb, you put it away and you hide it so people don't find it. You don't make it so large that everybody from miles around can see. That's, hey, there's something special here. You
Right.
wouldn't build something that big unless you wanted to make sure, through the sands of time or whatever, that is going to cause people's attention to go there. And for hundreds of years, we're going to sit and study it until we do figure out, we do have more discoveries, what's underneath, what's in the caverns and such. We know that we'll be attentive enough to keep looking at it, to that we will find it. So if we wanted to leave a message for our descendants way in the future, it's best to do something there. We build a huge monument that will always be there, that they'll say, hey, there's something special here, we need to look.
Yeah.
you know and so, but unfortunately, you see all the shit. They shut down Egypt before or whenever. It seems like when they have good finds and stuff, everything gets shut down. They don't tell anybody shit. You can't, people, regular people can't go in there. It's just the military people and whatever and stuff. And you don't hear anything until years later. And then when you do hear, you wonder if that's the truth of what they're telling. You
Yeah. What's classified, declassified? What's been removed from the reports to hide certain things?
Right.
You
Right.
know. But have you heard anything about the potential of pyramids being in America? I heard something
Yeah,
not that long ago.
sure.
Something about our some of our big hills and mountains could actually have pyramids underneath if we scanned them and actually looked at them.
Well, yeah, some of the what is it, Mississippian culture. Uh, there's a lot of pyramids, made out of earth pyramids, and there is another place in, I want to say, is it North Dakota or is it more over Montana, where they found these huge. I mean, them walls of Sacsayhuaman, I think it is, in South America. There's these huge megalithic stones that are cut, in weird shapes, and they're fit together so tightly and nicely. They found walls like this now in Montana,
Okay.
and that these couple, they had bought some land in Montana, you know, and apparently nobody really went out there and really looked through it, or talked much about it, and they found these vaults that are almost the same, look just like that
Hmm.
huge, huge, big megalithic stonework, and they're just starting, to dig it all out, clean it all up, and see what's all there and stuff. So more stuff's being discovered. It's well being more discovered. There's a myth about one of the, below a pyramid below one of the lakes here in Wisconsin, but
Mhm.
nobody knows seems to know exactly where it's at. So it's just a myth, really, right now. A lot of cultures, a lot of different cultures that people will say couldn't have existed, or technology that couldn't have existed, or they wouldn't have had time. There's so much more. And even so, even with that, there could be more to the truth, even that would surprise us, because we also have like these big stone megalithic, walls and monuments being made. We've also said that, maybe some of the people have also said that, well, this could be of our ancestors, or you have to remember there was a time where giants lived in the land. There were giants
Yep.
that lived, and of course nobody wants to believe that, but it's been proven in many.
Christina says Lake Michigan. I believe that's where they think the one of the temples are.
Mm, probably, I think so. Yeah. Um, and with that, even that's so hard to fathom. I mean, when you look at the time of the glaciers, and the melting of the glaciers, and how could it be there, or was it there
Lake
before
Mills.
or after after the ice age, you know.
She also
Um,
says Lake Mills also.
Lake Mills. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. Lake Mills.
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But there's such a high history for mankind that we don't remember. And it's
Yeah,
there. And who's to say, that there isn't some sort of close knit group of people that still survive, the knowledge still kind of
there's a
survives, and this higher technology that they keep to themselves that we think of as aliens, people, that it very well could be people, or of who or beings, that have always lived here, for
right.
an eternity, you know. So the truth's out there, and I think it's like way bigger and way more unbelievably, amazing than what we can think of, you know.
Yeah,
But and it's fun. It's fun to look at these places, go and to research these places. What
they're
draws
actually.
people here.
She brought up another pyramid, but I couldn't read it quick enough. So if you could bring that last comment back up, Christina, I'd greatly appreciate it. Maybe, possibly, hopefully. All right. Aslan, Aztalan State Park.
Aztalan State Park, yeah.
Haven't been there yet.
Is that Wisconsin? As because I
It's
heard a lot.
near Lake Mills, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I
It
heard.
sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar. Yeah. Um. Yeah. It sounds really familiar. I know I've heard of it. And I've watched some kind of documentaries on Aztalan State Park. Yeah. 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 Cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
Really cool. And just to see if we could step back into the past, say 15,000 years. Even the scientists are now saying that giving us us natives a few more years that we've been here on North America. It
Yeah.
seems every 5 years they give us another 5,000 years. But just to see what happens, something huge, something big happened around
Yeah.
that 12,500 year mark that really killed off a lot of the animals. It changed the face of the world, places that could have and should most likely should be, very sophisticated places in the world have been destroyed, wiped out. And when you wipe out that system, and how everything works, it puts people right back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So you're only going to have a few people who are able to keep some of that knowledge going forward, but the rest of the people have to go be indigenous, and work the land, work with the land, and get back to that, connection to the land.
Well,
Um,
that's why our people, we taught and shared orally. So it
yeah,
got passed along and it wasn't forgotten. It
right,
wasn't written down and destroyed.
right, right. And through oral history and story keeping and stuff like that, it's how we kept that knowledge. And when the elders say that, the stars are our grandparents, they're our elders.
Yeah.
True, it's true. We're made out of stars. It makes so much more sense now when you think of the science of it, that
Yeah.
we're all stars, and we're made of iron and calcium and oxygen and all of this stuff that it takes from exploding stars to be who we are today.
Yeah.
And so you look at a lot of the old teachings that just seem kind of like myth and fairy tale. It was just a simple way of telling the truth, of how
Yeah.
things are. you know. And I just think it's so amazing, to think to go that way and to think that way. I mean, how do you explain to people about like nuclear fission, or how the sun works and stuff, But when you start talking power wheels, energy wheels and stuff, and certain things, then it kind of makes a little bit more sense. But in a straight up scientific way, you can't really do it that way. But you explain it in a way and people would understand. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, man, yeah. I think it's one thing to want to learn all that stuff, which I want to. But on the other hand, I think is also I don't want to know everything either. I kind of like being ignorant and having all this wonderment. It's like, ooh, so nice, and like I don't want to know everything. Always have this this curiosity, and have things that put you on that journey and to go and
Yeah.
find. If you knew everything, you just sit there. I was like, yeah, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Like no,
You
go find
wouldn't
this.
experience anything.
Right, you wouldn't experience anything. It's like, oh, I gotta go find these things, all these things that are, just oddities, and things that just seem too far fetched to be true. And you find out that no, they're not too far fetched to be true. Like you said, how well do we know our own oceans?
Right.
Every tsunami or whatever comes, they're washing up some weird kind of animal we couldn't even think of in a science fiction kind of way.
Right.
And not even that, you look at the Chinese, like if you look at some of the Chinese dragons, like how they do their parade and stuff. One guy's got the head, and we've got all these other people and stuff,
Yeah.
and some of those, and also with the drawings, and I think one of them, tsunamis they had not too long ago, washed up this little animal, like a little eel, and it kind of almost looked exactly like what the Chinese drew as dragons. This little animal.
Survive. Come on now, breathe. Well, he's off getting a drink, clearing his throat. Guys, remember to like, subscribe, share. All that really helps the channel. We couldn't be doing this without you guys. We're trying to get our numbers up here so we start doing this live. So
Yeah, do that.
I think he's getting rid of one of them camels. Hacking up a camel.
I'm having an allergy attack.
Uh-oh. Need an inhaler?
No, it's just to get a itch in my throat and a reaction that the only way to itch it is to cough. Happens once a month, I think. Not a dust. Ooh.
Hey, if anybody out there works for Sundrop, hit me up. I could use a sponsor. Just saying. I drink enough of it.
Ooh.
All right. You're still breathing. You're still alive.
Yeah. Don't need the paramedics yet.
All right.
Ooh. Yeah, when that happens, I can't even stop it. It's just like, gosh, I can't even warn anybody. Just got to go through it.
Yeah.
Go through the airport and that happens. People look at all crazy, like, oh my God. He's got
right.
COVID. Whatever. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm okay. Woo. All right.
Now, kind of, since we've been touching on a little bit of everything tonight,
Right. It went all over the place.
Right, all over the place. I know you've been called out to locations that were having issues with the paranormal, we could say. Do you got any personal experiences from that you could share?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Any interesting times?
You mean out east or normally?
Either out east or even back here in Wisconsin.
Well,
no names or nothing like that, just experiences.
Right. I would say there's this one family got a hold of me. This lady sent me a message. It's like, hey, I'm so and so, and I heard about you from a friend of a friend of a friend, kind of thing, and stuff. And she said that we're having, like really strange things happening at our on our farm. They have horses and dogs and fields and stuff. I was like, well, okay. I suppose we'll sit and talk. If there's a time we can talk with it a little bit more. Anyway, she was telling me about a lot of these things at certain places on our property when they're riding their horses. Like their horses will rear up and like freak out, like they hate this certain area of their property, and something to do with like a lot of crows or ravens, like a lot, like flocks of them that would fly around. And there's a little river kind of goes through there and stuff. And she said, it's always been weird. And my son, he's kind of got like gifts and stuff. And there's a couple houses on the property. And I guess it was like a property like her grandfather owned, and then they like had kids and stuff, and that all lived somewhere around the property near there. But she said there's a couple places that he's really uncomfortable going in and stuff, and it just feels strange. I've listened to other people, and we've tried to do what they say, with salt and this and that and this and that and this and that. Anyway, she said the weirdest thing is that I was talking to my mom, and she said my mom, who was like, she said she had the like Alzheimer's, and stuff, but she was telling me, she's like, my mom told me, she's like, she had a dream that there was these brown people, out in our fields, and they were running, they were running from something. She was like, she said, and her mom was like, I think they were Mexicans or something. And she's like, of course there ain't no Mexicans from around here. But they were running and that they were actually being killed. And come to find out that this is where this was old Menominee land. And it was a site near a battle that had happened. where a lot of Menominee people lost their lives. And um, when I'm out there, when I went out there and to talk with them, I was like, well, it really seems, I mean, we can, you know, I think we should kind of take into consideration what your mom said, even though I got two screens of looking at.
Hmm.
Even though she has Alzheimer's and stuff, it seems like she might have picked up on something, and that there was actually a battle somewhere near around this area, and the thing is that your horses pick up on it, and some of the other animals are picking up on it. And it seems to like kind of like be treating you like an outsider too, like giving you guys, these strange feelings. And she told me a whole lot more about it. Just kind of putting this in a nutshell. But I told her it's like what you need to try to do, is you need to start putting out offerings, offerings for the land, and you need to put out offerings for those people that your mom had described, put out offerings, food offerings, and tobacco and such, and letting them know, that you are there to care for the land, that you have respect. Really great people too, great family, young family, that you have respect for the land, that you're not here, to basically do the, uh, to destroy it, to harm it in any way. They do a lot of organic farming and stuff. They don't put any pesticides and stuff in there. Basically saying that you're here to do good for the land, that you're here to give that land that respect, and also give them a respect of what happened here. And there's a couple other things that kind of gave them explanations on doing that. I really, I don't think I'll say on here, but in a way, for them to like give those offerings, of course, without having them step on toes of any cultural appropriation either, you know. But to give that offering, to acknowledge the land, because the land is living too, you know.
Yeah.
And we went out and we smudged, kind of stood in a field, and of course, this is a huge land, you know, lots and lots of acres, but standing there smudging in the field to the four directions, and sending out that energy all the way towards that encompasses the whole land, even though we can't physically go every square foot over the whole
Right.
land. But also giving them a place of fire to give those offerings. And I said, if you give those offerings, you have more respect for the land. The land will respect you as well. It won't treat you. You'll have better feelings. Your horses, they're gonna have better feelings going along. And that even though they belong to you, they're gonna understand that you have that respect for the land. They're gonna help take care of you as well. And as I did it, I did some songs out there. Did some smudging, gave out offering and everything, and had a really good talk with them. And called him back a week later. I said, okay, well, how's everything going? And mind you, so much more went into this that I'm telling you, a whole lot more.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but they're like, yeah, everything's going good. Seems like the horses aren't being spooked anymore. They can actually go down these trails and stuff that they weren't anymore and couldn't before. She's like, I don't know why, but I think I might have seen one crow around, and for the flocks, that the huge flocks that were there, that just seems so spooky that it doesn't feel that way anymore. It doesn't feel like that I'm uncomfortable or that I'm afraid or anything anymore. you know and so well, that's really good, because that makes sure that your offerings were good, what you were given, that you
Yeah.
give that blessing to, okay, we understand that you are good-hearted people. You may stay here, and we're not going
Yeah.
to give you problems either. You know, it's not because that thing what happened. That massacre or whatever happened on that land really didn't go down to be recognized by anybody. I said, but now that you know that happened, that there's spirits here, that there's still blood and tears in the lands. There's a way of healing that, and that's giving it that acknowledgement. You
Yeah.
know, that helps them, and helping them, they're going to help you too, but
Exactly.
it's like night and day, just the shift of energy on how, not only going out there with the ability of using medicines and your own spirit guides and energies to help cleanse the place, but also make it to where you can heal, and that they will in turn heal you back as well, the land as well. So the wife, she was all into it. And the husband, he wasn't like an atheist, or he's like, I don't know nothing about nothing, but I give you respect on what you guys are doing. Thank you for coming. And of course, but the son, he's got gifts. He's got really good gifts of picking up on energies and such. And a lot of times when I was there talking, I was talking to him, and he was
Yeah.
like maybe, he was the one I was speaking to more.
All right. Well, hey,
But
Shawn, I hate to do it to you, but we're running out of time here.
oh, really?
So,
Here we
yeah,
have to talk about.
right. So, well, we're coming on to the end of our hour here. So, if you'd like to tell anybody how to get a hold of you, if they got any questions or like to learn some more from you, how would they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Shawn L. Stevens. I'm on Instagram, but I'm hardly there. I'm just kind of like, I watch other people's stuff. I don't post crap or
All right.
nothing. Yeah, but I'd go Facebook probably.
Okay. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, like, share, subscribe. Send some healing prayers over there to Christina so she stops feeling better hopefully this week and speak again. Ooh, spirit hands.
Hey.
All right, everybody. Good night. See you later. Hope to see